wiggle your ears, misspell some words, and let's find Theodore. It's time to take a look on the bright side. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the bright side. I'm your host, Bob Herzog. And before we go any further, let's clap it up. Here in the studio, let's clap it up. Up in the booth, let's clap it up. You're alone in your basement among your co-workers who are actually trying to do work as opposed to watch this. Even as strangers look upon you as you gnaw on a bread bowl at Panera. Clap it up for my friend Jen Dalton. She did an outstanding job the last couple of weeks, and I hope that leads to her becoming a more regular part, thank you, Chuck, of what we do here. You know, it was just so nice not to have to take a break from the goodness just because I happen to be out on a particular Friday. Goodness does not sleep. Occasionally it rests its eyes, but it doesn't sleep. We love that positive energy. And though we're never going to win a Peabody, you can win one for that kind of thing, which I love. And I love this show. Are you ready for season 2 of Ted Lasso? I know I am. I just love it. I really, really do. The Apple TV Plus series legit won a Peabody Award. It's about a football coach from Kansas hired to coach a British soccer team. He doesn't realize the disgruntled owner only hired him to sink the team, sort of a major league premise for those familiar with that Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes classic. But the heart of Ted Lasso, starring Jason Sudeikis, is, well, it's heart. He wins people over with kindness and hard work and optimism. The Peabody organization says the series shows the character, quote, affecting change by being a deeply good human being. The Peabody peeps also say Ted Lasso came along at a time when we need inspiring models of kindness. Season 2 comes out July 23rd, and I promise I am not getting any kickbacks from the producers of Ted Lasso. I just really and truly want to bring more of that Lasso energy to the world. And hey, here's a creature who I think brings some of that Ted Lasso energy. Fiona, Cincinnati's own Hippos superstar, is always good for some smiles. Turns out, though, check that out, she's not a big fan of the bubbles. This video provided by the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. A zookeeper blew some bubbles at her. Fiona, who normally plays right up for the camera, not having any of it. It's like she thought some sort of wicked sorcery was being performed or something. The 3-year-old hippo heads back toward the water and away from the evil bubbles. Now, not to be outdone by that youngin'. A hippo at the San Antonio Zoo is showing off a bit. Watch, look, 46-year-old Uma wiggling her ears. See, at first, I thought they were going in opposite directions. Turns out it's just different timing, which in and of itself is impressive. I've seen that kind of thing done with tassels, but never with ears. Anyway, the zoo provided this video. Hippos do this to remove water from their ears. They also do that to swat away insects. Isn't that awesome? I love that. Now, usually we think of hippos as being hungry, but we'll move on to something even bigger for this one. Have you seen this? A woman in Thailand woke up in the middle of the night after this elephant crashed right through the wall of her kitchen. The male elephant then used its long trunk to grab some food once he got in there, and apparently this particular elephant has pulled the same stunt before. Now, because of it, there is now a volunteer elephant lookout that uses loud sounds to scare away animals that get too close to homes. My mom needs those kinds of volunteers around her house when she makes barbecue, because I will just straight crash through the garage door like Kool-Aid Man. Anyway, speaking of eating, the oldest living male gorilla in the world just enjoyed a big old birthday cake. Zoo Atlanta celebrated Ozzy's 60th birthday this week. Now, that's an accomplishment since gorillas are seen as geriatric after turning 40. Ozzy has more than 20 descendants, including great-grandchildren, some of whom also live at Zoo Atlanta. Western lowland gorillas are considered endangered, so Zoo Atlanta officials say Ozzy's offspring are a major contribution to the future of the species. Way to go, Ozzy. Happy birthday to you. Now, normally here on the bright side, when we talk about our beasties, we wouldn't mention a lost pet. That's a sad thing. But I love these kids so much, and I just want them to find their friend. You know that feeling of helplessness as you search neighborhoods far and wide. But instead of a dog or a cat, this family is looking for their rare, beloved Russian tortoise, Theodore. Tessa DiTiro takes a look at the unusual efforts now underway.
Let's find Theodore. Come on.
The search is on for Theodore the tortoise.
We pass out flyers, we look in bushes, we ask if we can go into people's backyards.
Ava Wellage rescued the reptile last year.
I just miss him. I just want him back.
The whole family is leaving no stone unturned, including the dogs, working to sniff the tortoise out.
Find Theodore.
Theodore means a lot to me. He was my only pet that is unusual.
This is the first time Theodore has made a run for it. And apparently this tortoise is just as fast as the hare.
The stereotype of a tortoise, he is really fast.
Little brothers Evan and Emmett are checking in every yard and under every hedge, hoping to come across that characteristic shell. Even the neighbors are invested.
I've even had a neighbor come down with her beagle, trying to find it. Just to see if her nose was any better than our dog's noses.
I didn't expect anyone to really care
Because he's a tortoise.
Nailing up flyers, scouring the streets every half hour. The Wellage kids are determined to bring Theodore home.
Knowing that that poor little guy is out there, and right now it's a pretty cold day, and they live in warm conditions, and it's just sad.
See, don't you love them? Don't you want them to find Theodore? The family is offering a reward, and they're asking neighbors to please check those backyards. I hope they find Theodore, and I hope one day he has friends named Alvin and Simon. Okay, tortoise. Not spelled T-O-R-E-T-I-S-S, by the way. How it sounds, not how it's spelled. But we get it. Spelling is hard, and a new survey showed the most misspelled words across the country. This is curious. For example, a survey conducted by AT&T looked at Google Trends and found quarantine was the most prevalent in a dozen states in terms of being misspelled. That included Indiana. The most common misspelling of quarantine is corntine, as in a teen that really enjoys corn. The word favorite, oddly enough, at least oddly to me, was the second most searched nationwide. And that was the top for Ohio and Kentucky. That one most typically misspelled as F-A-V-O-U-R-I-T-E. And here is one of my favorite stories of the week. The staff at a New Hampshire bar got a big surprise when a generous customer left a huge tip. A customer who wished to remain anonymous racked up roughly $38 tab at the Stumble Inn Bar and Grill in Londonderry. And while many people would leave maybe a 15–20% tip, this customer left a $16,000 tip.
Statement, they put it down next to the register. And he said for 3 times, don't spend it all in one place. That's what made her flip it over and look. And she's like, oh my God, are you serious? And he's like, I want you to have it. You guys work hard.
Not awesome. The bar's owner, Mike Zarella, says he thought it may have been a mistake. Maybe that customer meant for a $160 tip instead, but the customer said, nope, it is $16,000. Unbelievable. You know, oftentimes here on The Bright Side, we talk about people finding priceless paintings in strange places. Well, this one's a little different. It's priceless in a way, but for a different kind of reason. Plus, there's a Cincinnati connection. Brad Underwood reports.
Inside the Goodwill outlet, you never know what you'll find.
I love thrifting. It's one of my favorite hobbies.
It's here in one of the bins where Melissa Pauley spots it.
This particular painting really caught my eye. I'm always interested in things like that. And for $1, I thought, I'm going to take this home and check it out and see what I can figure out.
After a quick Google search, a match. An Instagram post from Julie Van Rosendahl about her grandfather's artwork. Julie lives in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
So I reached out to Julie via Facebook and thought she's either going to think this is great or think this is crazy.
She said, do you know anything about this painting? I bought it at a Goodwill outlet for $1.
The oil paintings are very similar and have identical signatures.
F. Van Roosendaal stands for Frans Van Roosendaal.
Julie never knew her grandfather, who was born in Belgium, immigrated to Canada in the 1950s, only to disappear while flying a plane in Hawaii in the 60s.
We've definitely been doing some digging, talking to some relatives. That we don't have very many relatives on that family that we know.
The painting is now on its way to Julie. But there's still a big mystery to all of this. How in the world did a piece by a Belgian man, most likely painted in Canada, end up in Cincinnati at a Goodwill?
I just have no idea how it ended up in Cincinnati. My only connection to Cincinnati is that I love WKRP. And, that's about all I know. I know you have great chili that you serve on spaghetti.
Even in Canada, they know about the chili. But for Polly, being able to reunite a family with some lost art and possibly fill in some family tree gaps, this is special.
It's cool. I mean, it's been really neat. I think more on Julie's end, just that it's kind of opened this whole experience for her with her family.
In Woodlawn, Brad Underwood, Local 12 News.
Chili on spaghetti, WKRP, you pretty much have us nailed down. Anyway, when the painting makes it there, Van Roosendaal will give it to her dad as a birthday gift. Love that. We've got time for one more to inspire. It's a viral photo you may have seen of a proposal against the stunning backdrop of the Pacific Ocean. The photo looks like it came right out of Bridal magazine, and the couple, they look like models. But as Marissa Perkman explains, the reality is quite different, and it's really a story about both the power of love, which, as Huey Lewis taught us, is a curious thing, and social media.
I just remember him saying, I love you so much and I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Jasmine Wynn says she's still on cloud nine days after her now fiance, Ricky Johnson Jr., popped the question. Ricky had been planning the proposal for a month.
And I'm like, that's the spot.
On Saturday, photographer Valerie Contreras was visiting the historic Sutro Baths outside of San Francisco with friends. She happened to look up and noticed this moment.
And that's when I kind of connected the dots and I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna propose. Standing there where we were, just started shooting, just started taking the photos.
Valerie says she didn't want to ruin the moment, but still wanted the happy couple to have the beautiful photos she captured. So she took to Twitter, posting this online, asking Twitter to do its magic. And within hours, the couple got the message.
And I got a text message from my friend Omi, and he goes, hey, Twitter's looking for you.
Jasmine and Ricky saw the thousands of shares, retweets, and likes.
And it was just like whoosh.
Almost 700,000 likes later, the cross-country connection was made. The photos shared, and this couple is forever grateful.
We want our kids to be able to see and know our stories.
To Valerie and to social media for making the impossible possible.
From El Paso to Sacramento, you guys found us.
Isn't that great? I mean, normally when Twitter is looking for you, you run, you hide, you change your identity. Glad it worked out this time. And hey, glad you made it here as well, and sure hope you consider sharing this week's episode, because maybe someone you know needs to take a look on the bright side.